Welcome back. This video is all about BTTS in 2025, how to profit. It was the clear winner in the comments on the previous video. I asked you which market you would like me to cover next, and BTTS won. So here we are. We're going to cover 4 systems. You can see them here. We've got value betting, which is where we will start. I've put together a profitable system. And then we will move on to stat betting and filter betting, see how you can get games that match your needs through the filters. And of course, through new pages like the form guide, I'll show you that as well. Trends as well is a good resource for shortlists for BTTS, absolutely. And then we'll look at in-play betting opportunities as well using BTTS. And then finally, as a bonus, the bet slip generator. Now, everybody has different strategies, different methods, different preferences. Let me know which one of these is your favorite for BTTS. And of course, once you've watched the video, also comment down below which market you would like me to cover next. So without further ado, let's get into it because we're starting with value betting. So this is the Value Bets tool on OddAlerts. Head to the description to check it out. And this is my BTTS feed based on my settings. And you can see we've got some games upcoming here, 21% value, 19% value, 18% value, all odds over evens, which gives you an indication into my settings. We're going to head to the profit tab for this one because there are a few new features that I want to show you. But just before we do, if you are interested in value betting, you might want to check out the previous video. It is linked there on the value betting profit calculator tab, and you can check it out, and then you can just learn a bit more about the value betting page. And in that video, we actually put together an away win system, which as well was profitable. So my BTTS system, what is it on at the minute? Let's hit get. And this is an opportunity to show you a brand new feature. The dashboard has been completely redesigned, and there's a big new feature at the top there because you can see staking system is now an option. But let's leave that for a moment because we're just going to check out the data for this. 175 bets across 120 days, totally manageable. And as you can see, 23.35 units of profit. It's not amazing, but it is profit, of course. All time, we can then see how this has worked out so far across the last 120 days. As I mentioned on the last value betting video, scroll down a little bit. You can now see the recent results. And then you can download the CSV to dig into the data a little bit more. You can also download the upcoming data as well for the next 7 days. And as always, if you want to get all of the probability model and just back test for however long you like with different settings and whatnot, you can head to the downloads page. That'll also be linked in the description. And if you want even more control and flexibility, then you can, of course, subscribe to the API. So this is a BTTS system. The settings were put together in about 10 minutes just to tell you how easy it is to actually work out profitability on these betting systems. And 23.35 units. But look what happens when we use this new feature. We go from unit stakes. Let's go to quarter Kelly stakes. It'll go away, get all the bets that came through, same number of bets. It'll process them differently because it's using a different staking system. And now we have 54 units of profit. And we can see that the chart here is a little bit different. It spent a little bit more time in the red, but then it recovered and in some style as well. So let's quickly compare the two, unit staking and Kelly staking. We've got 175 bets for BTTS across the last 120 days. And we can clearly see the difference in the approaches. Unit staking, which is 1 unit per game, delivered 23.35% return on investment with a 13.3% yield and a minimum drawdown of -6%. Unit staking is great at first to start off, to qualify the system, to qualify the edge of the model. However, with quarter Kelly staking, which adjusts the bet size based on the probability edge and your current bankroll, it more than doubled the return on investment of this system. So what is the trade-off? Well, the drawdown was much bigger and can be much bigger on a Kelly system. In this example, we had -18% as the maximum drawdown. The data shows a quarter Kelly hitting an average stake of 3.58 units whilst maintaining the same 42.86% win rate as unit betting. For anybody building a betting model, I'd recommend starting with unit staking to validate your edge and then transitioning to quarter Kelly once you're confident in your predictions. The math is clear. Kelly optimizes your returns if you have a genuine edge. So there we go. We'll jump back to the profit calculator here. We'll do half Kelly as well, shall we? And see what we get for that. And we get a even better look at the system, which is 82.27 units. And of course, I would encourage you to just head over to the settings tab, start fiddling around and then checking out the profit. And as I said before, start with unit staking, get something that's profitable, and then check out quarter Kelly and half Kelly. So next up, we're going to take a look at statistical betting, statistical BTTS filters, and how you can use that side of things to find potential winners for the BTTS market. If you've enjoyed that first section, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you would like to see added to the profit calculator. If you've got any questions about that, about the Kelly system, just get them in the comments. I read every single comment. So let's move on to the next section. So in this next section, we're going to be looking at the football form guide, and we're also going to be looking at filters as well. This is a statistical section. So this is using stats and recent data, doing a bit of research on a human level, not probability models or anything. We can use them in our filters if we want, as I'll show you in a moment. But we're starting here with the football form guide and how it can help us with BTTS. So I've got a couple of new features here as well to show you. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the last 15 games, because I've got a pretty interesting team to show you here. Games won, Newcastle 11 out of 15, well done, absolutely fantastic at the moment. Isak is unplayable. Let's go to BTTS, and directly we can just see that 13 of the last 15 games for Fulham have ended with BTTS landing. Now you can then click on that game, go and check out Leicester's form if you want. We can see that they're away at Leicester. This is where you've got to start picking up points, isn't it? Brighton away at Manchester United, who conceded to Southampton. And I think down that left-hand side, Southampton had a lot of joy. Mitoma's a lot better than what Southampton have got. So yeah, I think Brighton could score in that one if we're looking at BTTS. So what you can now do from the football form guide is click on this little graph icon. And what happens then is it goes away and brings you all of the data for this team for this period of time, and then ranks them for each of those data points as well. So you can then just go and look and see, well, okay, Fulham, they're pretty average at the minute for everything, even games won. Games drawn, 7 of the last 15. They are top of the pile for that, no doubt about that. In terms of games with over 3.5 goals, 8 out of 15. They are second for that metric. In terms of scoring, 14 out of 15. That's something you look for, isn't it, for BTTS? You need the team to be able to score, and they've scored in 14 of the last 15 games. But they've also conceded in 13. Of course they have, because BTTS has landed in 13. And you can just keep going down here. We can see the BTTS statistic here. One thing I'll show you now is how you can view all European teams at the same time. So what you can also do from the settings here is select top European leagues, and this will give you all of the European leagues, the top major leagues around Europe, merged into one. And it's just a great shortlist. If you are looking at games for BTTS, you can then just see Fulham, 13 out of 15, Brighton. We can take this down a little bit, and we could say maybe last 6 games overall, and see what kind of teams appear for that metric. We see Freiburg 100%, Dortmund 100%, Rayo Vallecano 100%, Monza 100%. Now, what is interesting to me is that all of those teams that are 6 out of 6 are all playing away from home, which I prefer. I always lean on an away team, as we will see in the next section. I'll put a link to this page in the description. All of the pages that I use and all of the tools will be linked in the description of this video. And next we're going to be looking at filters. And just keep in mind that I favour the away team, because we're going to put together a filter that does just that. So this is the home page of OddAlerts, and incidentally, if you want to get to some of those new pages that we've just looked at, you can click on New to OddAlerts and just head over there. And let's look at the filters then, shall we? We're going to qualify that both teams have played at least 10 games this season, which will just cut out some of the leagues that are just starting. And then what we can do is look at the away team, as I mentioned. And the good thing about quick filters is it's quite subjective. You are in control. You can put any rules into here that you want or that you feel are appropriate. Now for the home team, actually, we'll just start there because I want a home team that is not fantastic, but they're also not terrible. They're not going to lose 2-3-0. We want them to score, remember. So let's give them a average points per game at home of 1, but let's also cap it at 1.8. Okay, so we're looking at teams that are just average or above average, right? Remember, we don't need an away win here. We just need the away team and the home team to both score. So we can save that rule. And then for the home team as well, we want to just qualify. Let's say they've scored in 70% of their home games. And then for the away team, as I said, I like to favour the away team. So we want an away team that is pretty decent. And for that, we will put 1.8 points per game or more away from home. So the next rule that I'm going to add for the away team is in terms of scoring a single goal, I'm going to go and use the last X rule. So in the last 6 games, let's say they've scored in every game, and let's just tweak and see what we get. So these are the rules here, and if we hit search, I've just done it already, we get 1 game for Friday. Let's have a look at the next 5 days for the weekend. Always good to do this at the weekend. And then we get a collection of games, and if you just look at the league positions here, you can see we've got 11th against 3rd, 13th against 2nd, 8th against 1st, 13th against 2nd. So the filters are working. Good one here from Netherlands as well. Utrecht against AZ, 6 against 3rd, but of course AZ we know have scored in 6 out of 6 recently because we qualified it. So this is actually quite a short list. We've got Sporting Braga away from home as well. What I'm going to do is just take a look at some of these teams, some of the home teams, and just see if there's anything missing from our filters. That's what I would suggest. Is there a home team in here that actually hasn't scored in 5 games, and then the average that we selected is just sort of bumping them up a little bit? Let me have a look and I'll get back to you. So one of the games that I've opened, I wanted to open one of the ones that seemed a bit one-sided, and we've got West Ham women against Chelsea women here. Chelsea obviously one of the better sides in England in terms of the women's teams, and they've conceded just twice away from home, 0.4 goals per game. If we're looking at goals conceded, they have conceded in just 40% of games, and just 40% of games overall as well. So what we can do is add a rule for the away team, and we can look at goals conceded. You've got XG in here as well. You've got league positions. You've got all sorts. You've got average goals, first half goals scored. We are looking at BTTS, of course. So we can actually add that in. How many times has BTTS happened if you wanted to do that? Over 1.5 goals percent as well. That's, you know, still in there, isn't it? If it's BTTS, it's got to be over 1.5 goals as well. But let's just take a look at goals conceded just to create a simple, this is first half, let's find goals conceded. So conceded over 0.5 goals away from home, let's say 50% of games, and let's just see how many of these away teams get taken away. So Chelsea get taken away, so that's why it's good to just check out some of the games on your filter before diving back into the rules. And now we have a shortlist of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games for the whole weekend. So, you know, this is a decent way to instantly separate thousands of teams based on metrics that you would actually think are worth something when it comes to BTTS. Now, of course, I would still suggest looking at each game and taking it as it is and just seeing which game you prefer. The statistics and the filter side of things, it's more subjective. It's more about you. Unless you have a filter that you've back tested, which you can do if you go to the filters page, and you're then confident with it, you can treat it in the same way as we did with the value betting systems as well. So for this one, let's see how these do over the weekend. The AZ game is probably the one I'm looking at with the most confidence, but we'll have to check the odds, which leads us nicely to the next section, which is in-play betting. So before we head to in-play, what I want to show you actually is the odds. So we're going to click down here and then look at the odds, because actually there's some decent odds here. 1.91 in Israel on Monday. On Saturday, 1.62 for AZ. That one could be an alert worthy, or it could go on for a double. In the National League, 1.91 Cheshire United against Maidstone United. Again, take a look at the data. And these top 3 games have no odds, which is where we're going to head next, because you might think, oh, no odds, no value. That's not true. Let me show you something. So Bangor against Airbus, what we're going to do is go to the Create tab, which is where we create alerts, and we're going to scroll down until we see BTTS. Should be here in a moment, and it'll be near the bottom because there isn't any odds. And we can see it here, BTTS. So we click Add, and I'm going to say, let me know when it hits 1.4, which is usually what it will open at. We save the alert. And that's it. I will get an alert when this hits, when it opens at 1.4, if there's a slow start to this game. And yeah, after 12, 15 minutes, you can expect BTTS to open. And let me just show you some metrics as well, based on this kind of system. So usually when the odds are not available, it's because the bookies don't want to add them. I've just done a quick query in the database, which is really, really cool to be able to do. I want to create tools to allow you to do that soon. But here is the data. So from the start of January, 1st of January 2025, there was 299 games where BTTS was not available before the game. The probability model had it at 50% or higher. And in play, BTTS rose to 1.8 or higher before ultimately landing. So it just gives you a glimpse of the value that is on offer. This is also a great tactic for over 1.5 goals as well. Let me jump now to the trends page where you can do this sort of thing very, very quickly. So from quick filters to trends, and this is still within the sort of statistical angle, if you will, but we are going to focus on the alerts as we just did. We set some alerts for the games we found from our filters, and now we will take a look at BTTS on the trends page, and this ranks all of the teams by a single stat. So you can see at the top, most of the games do have odds, but if you come across a game here that doesn't have odds, this is an instant way to do what we've just done. So if I say 1.4, hit save, and then you can go across to another game and do the same thing. And it's really, really useful. And of course, you'll want to check out the data, because it might be that we get a game like the Chelsea one where one of the teams hardly concedes a goal. You can see that the away team here scores 1.36, but has failed to score in just 9% of games. So they're scoring in most games, but not more than once. So that is another quick way, just how you can quickly go through, see which games you like. Coming soon is a brand new trends page, by the way, which will include automated, always-on alerts based on your settings. Can't wait to launch that, coming very, very soon. So that was the statistical section and the in-play section. Let me know how you use in-play alerts for BTTS. For me, games that don't have it available, or games that are very low odds, capturing that value. I mean, Brentford here, for example, 1.5. Let me know when it hits evens. And then you never know, it might be a slow start, and Brentford, their games have had late goals recently, that is for sure. Yeah, the statistical part of this for BTTS, it involves doing a bit of research, but if you're like me, that is part of the fun. Now, the final section, the final strategy is the bet slip generator. Now, this is a very, very powerful tool. Usually I use it for a mix of markets. As you can see what markets I have enabled here. We're going to disable all of them apart from BTTS. So it is enabled already. No, it isn't. Now it is. And you can see there is a wide range of markets here. Let me just make sure all of them are off. And for BTTS, we're going to say 60% or higher. You can even bump it up to 65%. Let's see what kind of games we get for the next 5 days. We're going to sort by the probability of the slip, and we're going to look for doubles. And the target odds are 2.5. Minimum odds in our slips and maximum odds, we're going to look for 1.2 minimum. We can put that up because it's BTTS, isn't it, at the end of the day? So let's say 1.5 and 1.9 for the odds here. And we're looking at 2 items per slip, which is, of course, a double. And again, if you want to use this tool, just head to the description. There will be a link there. We hit get. And there we go. We see Vitesse away at Volendam again, another game from the Eerste Divisie, 1.57 odds. And this is based on the probability model, which of course powers value betting, which is what we started this video looking at, so you can just know and trust and rely on it. You don't have to look at the stats, but of course, if you want to, you can click on the fixture and take a look at the data, but it is based on the probability model. This is going to take us to Tuesday as well, because we've got PSV away at Red Star, which actually is a decent game for BTTS. Red Star Belgrade, they've scored goals against bigger teams than PSV, and PSV, a few surprising results in the Champions League, but you would expect them to definitely score away from home. 6% value on that one. Vitesse there again. Maddenberg in Germany. It's liking the Maddenberg game, isn't it? We've got Western Sydney Wanderers against CCM Mariners. Let's take a look and just do for the weekend. We can do next 48 hours, and we run again. And yeah, we get games here. It might be that you have to tone the probability model down. For BTTS, 65% is quite high, 67% here as well. You can look at the co-pilot here and it will tell you that taking it down to 60% will include 66 more selections. So what you could do is put it down to 60. I think I've seen that, and that's why it was 60 initially. And then we'll look at value bets only as well, shall we, to see if there are any value bets here. And then we go to the slips. And we do get value, of course. Chesterfield away at Grimsby Town. Chesterfield, across the last 18 months or so, decent goal scorers, very, very good home team. But of course, they're playing away from home, 1.72 there. So this is a great resource, a great tool. If you're not sure, if you're not, if you've not got enough time to do the research, you can rely on the probability model and use the bet slip generator. So let me just take you back to the homepage for a second and do the outro. So there is one final bonus section. This is the bet of the day page, and it ranks all of the games again by the probability model. Just puts it in a nice, easy format for you, so you can check out all the games in a single day, and any games that are value will be highlighted. So it's a nice, easy way to see value bets that are upcoming. We can look at today's fixtures. We can look at tomorrow's fixtures. So it doesn't matter when you view this, you can just see the next 3 days worth of BTTS value bets. And as you can see, there are quite a few, to be fair, but most of them are over 60%, aren't they, as we saw with the bet slip generator co-pilot suggestions. One here, which is not a value bet because of the odds, 1.28 in Singapore. There are so many goals in that division, and that has been the BTTS in 2025. If you can't make a profit from all these tools that I've shown you, then get yourself in the comments. What's going wrong? Let me know what you've thought about this video. If you've got any feedback or thoughts or ideas for OddAlerts, I'd be happy to hear them, and even happier to implement them as well. So until the next one, thank you.